Okay. Okay, welcome and good morning to Alchemy Yoga's first online class with me, Jody, if we haven't met before. So good morning to you wherever you are, if you're in your living room, if you're in your basement. I know some of you have been sending us pictures of your new spaces that you've created with altars and just beautiful things in your yoga room. So keep that up. That's important that we have a really good space that we can do this home practice from. So I want to begin this morning by thanking you guys, from both Kyle and I to all of you guys that have supported us through this downtime, and not just us, but our whole community and just the greater world at large. So thank you all for tuning in, for your support, for your messages, and we just give that right back to you guys. So we hope you're doing well. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. So this morning's class, we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about reducing anxiety and how we can do that through a couple of different ways. One being stillness, and one being movement of the body. So we're going to begin with some stillness, and then we're going to move into some repetitive postures. It won't necessarily feel like a typical flow class. I'm going to link two poses together a lot so that we can get out of the head and into the body with the assist of the breath. Okay, so the patterning will feel familiar, but we're not going to link a lot of postures together with other postures to follow. All right? I've been thinking lately how this last little bit of time has caused us to become very adaptable very quickly. And I'm sure there's many examples that come to your mind right away of ways that you've had to adapt your home life, your work life, how you interact with people, and the list goes on. And when I think of that through the lens of yoga, the word that comes to my mind is one of the niyamas, which is the tapas. And I think what's happening to us when we are adapting at this high rate of speed, it's building resiliency in all of us, and it's also creating discipline in all of us. So I'll just give you a quick example from my own life. I've never been somebody that's had a really amazing home life or home practice. I've always enjoyed being led by a teacher. And the people that I've talked to, I think most people would agree that they would rather be led than to go on their own self-discipline. But what I'm finding in these last couple of weeks here is that my home practice, because I don't have a choice, has really upped, and I like this. I think we're building these structures and these platforms for us to stand on our own, which is in the end just going to make us stronger and stronger. So I want to begin with stillness. I want to begin with, is it not going? It's not going. None of that was going? Are you sure? I'm not sure if I'm on or not. If I am, little technical difficulty, which we kind of anticipated as this is our first time. So thank you guys for your patience if you are on. Oh, I guess it is working. Oh, okay. Okay, thanks, Ashley, from home. Okay, all right. That's probably going to happen again. Are we good to go then? So I don't have to repeat any of that I just said? Awesome. All right. So for this class, I don't know if you guys will have blocks at home. If not, I don't know, use a couple cereal boxes or a small dog or something like that, a pillow, something for support to sit on, and then something for the hands that we'll be using in a little bit of time here. So go ahead and ground in your favorite way. I probably don't have to give instruction on how you know to drop into your center. So I'll give you a few moments to do that. And then once you feel like you're in your center, rise up just a little taller through the crown of the head, like the whole spine is being steamed towards the ceiling. Feel that the back of your neck is long and there's this subtle tuck of your chin in towards the chest. And I like to have my eyes closed for seated meditation, but some of you might have a soft gaze forward. Find a comfortable position for your hands if you've yet to do so. Palms down suggests that we need just a little bit of extra grounding this morning. Palms up would suggest that we're open to receptivity to the space of the heart. And just watch a few of your own natural breaths here. A lot of times when we come into seated meditation, we want to regulate the breath. But just let it be natural, easy, long, and smooth. So you're aware of it, but you're not changing it. We'll change it up in a little bit. And once you've taken a few long, slow, deep breaths, bring your awareness to what would be the solar plexus in you. So just slightly below the rib cage and slightly above the navel. And one of the ways that we can visualize the center of us is through imagining the color of bright yellow, like a hot sun. And I'm going to guide us through 3 instinctual parts of us. And as I guide you through these 3 instinctual parts of us, I want you to do a little check-in to see how these areas of you are doing. And as always, with no judgment, but from the state of the witness. And so bringing the awareness to that yellow orb or that ball in the solar plexus of the body. This is where our self-preservation instinct resides. And all of us, everybody on planet Earth right now is living heavily in the self-preservation instinct. This is the part of us that hoards. This is the part of us that is worried about scarcity. This is the part of us that is concerned for our own health. The part of us that is cooking more at home. And the part of us that is creating safe space within our homes. What platforms are you creating for your own well-being these days? What totems and what rituals have you created in your life, in your new life, that feel like they support your health, your wellness, and your security? Take a full breath in through your nose. And let the air come easily out the mouth. Now drop your awareness to the lower part of the body. That would be about 4 inches below the navel and to the very root of us. This is one of the most primal areas of our entire being. And when we're speaking in the instinctual language, there's different words that we can use to define or describe this area in all of us. These instincts, we come to earth with them. They're biologically encoded in our DNA of our bodies. And this area about 3 to 4 inches below the navel is most often referred to as our sexual instinct. Sometimes it's called the attraction instinct. This is the part of us that each and every one of us is defined by this act of attraction. It makes us all the same. We all got here in the same way. What do you feel attracted to these days? Has it changed? Have you had to adapt to what you're drawn to? And with this shift in times, what are you looking forward to? And that may be a big question to pose. Maybe it's just something that's later today. What do you feel drawn to in this time? Take a full breath in through the nose right up to the crown of the head. All the air out through the mouth. Draw your awareness up a little higher now. Let it travel up through the heart space and stop and land right around the throat. Front of the throat, back of the throat. Front of the shoulders, back of the shoulders. And take a few breaths here and imagine air swirling through the throat, front and back body. And your breath might match that visualization. This throat area, this throat chakra in all of us is where our social instinct resides. The part of all of us that has been choked out, that has been muted, that has been drastically altered. What ways are you finding to connect these past few weeks? How are you adapting to those you come in contact with, whether it's on a walk, on a pathway, or someone in a grocery store? Do you find yourself more social if that hasn't been your instinct of preference? Do you find yourself angry that you can't socialize? Has there been any grieving around the missing of groups, friends? What new ways are you learning to connect with others? How does it feel richer? How does it feel different? The next inhale that you draw comes right from the base of you, right from the center of the earth. Take an inhale. Exhale through the mouth, send it right back to the source from where it came. And all of this grace that you are extending to others right now to be helpful, to be of service. Take your hands together to touch at the center of the chest and bring and extend that grace back to yourself. Bow your head. And if you'd like to create an intention or said a prayer for this morning's practice, take a few moments here to do that. I'll call you back. Let her open up the eyes, let the light come back to your eyes and come back into the room. And before we get going, I just want to give you guys a little bit of encouragement to stay with the practice. So if you're seeing dust underneath the couch, if you're seeing something like suddenly you need to change something in the room that you're in, you hear the laundry go, or somebody walking upstairs or downstairs, I'm going to recommend that you just let all that go. See if you can stay on the mat for the remainder of the class and start to build the structure and the tapas, the discipline to do this at home, okay? So I'm with you guys, and we're going to meet up in a seated position without a prop underneath you. So if you're sitting on a block like me, just set it to one side. So organize yourself where you feel like you're sitting just a little bit more forward in space with the pelvis and with the spine. And then take your hands onto your knees, a fairly firm grip of your knees with your hands. And we're just going to move the spine through extension and flexion. Typically, it's the inhale breath when we're leaning forward and the exhale breath when we're leaning back. But if you have a different breath pattern, then I just encourage you to find your own style of breathing here. But keep it consistent and keep it rhythmic as much as you can. You can pick up the pace a little bit. You can go slower than me. Just moving the spine forward and backward. Let's do one more of each, and then we'll meet back up at center here where we began. Once you're back up at center, take your left hand to your right knee and take your right hand behind you. I like to press onto my fingertips back there so I can get a little bit of height. Use your hands to sit tall and then turn yourself to the right. Take a full breath in. And on the exhale breath, soften through the ribs, soften through the belly, even soften your eyes. Go ahead and release through center to switch sides. Firm grip of the knee with the hand, tented fingers behind you, sit tall. And then soften into the twist. Not too intense here first thing, beginning of practice, just a nice gentle twist to warm up the spine. Good, and then we're going to release to the second side where we started, or the first side where we started, and then just move through both sides to your own breath. So starting to find these repetitive patterns of movement. So they're not hard, but the challenge here is to keep the breath rhythmic. And see if you can be just a little bit behind my voice with your movements, and be just a little bit behind your breath with your movements. If you feel like the breath is behind you, just reset, come back to center and begin again. We really want our body to lag behind the breath. That's one of the ways that we can help to reduce stress and to be in the present moment. Turn one more time to the left, and then we'll come back to meet up at center. Ground your right hand, your palm on the floor beside you, and then reach left arm up and over top of your head. A little bit of a dip into your right elbow to find space through the left side body. Take the gaze up towards the ceiling. And then sweep your left hand through center, ground your left, arc the body all the way through the right side. Push the mat away with your left hand, root into your right sitting bone. Now here we go with these repetitive movements. Same pose each side to your own breath. And one of the things about moving in a repetitive way is there's this opportunity to close the eyes. Or if you're keeping your eyes open, there's an opportunity to have a soft gaze. In yoga, we call that the dristi. And a soft gaze doesn't mean that you're not aware. It actually means that you're very focused. So if the eyes are closed, the focus of attention is the third eye, the center of the brow. If the eyes are open, you're finding nice, soft, directed, focused gaze. One more time on the left side, come back to center where we'll meet up. And if you guys practice with me on a fairly regular basis, this next pranayama breath work will be very familiar to you. I'll teach it to you, and then we'll revisit this same breath style later on in class. Bring the hands together to touch at the center of the chest. Weave your fingers together right down to the webbing. Push your inner hands away from you. Round your spine like cat. Tuck your chin, look to the navel. And on the inhale breath, take the eyes high, reach up. Stretch through your side body. And on the exhale breath, the arms get heavy, the hands release down to touch the floor. And we're going to do this again a few times to get into the rhythmic body. Hands to the heart. Exhale breath, push the hands away. Inhale breath, charge the arms high. Exhale, release the palms. I'll guide you through one more, and then we'll do about 2 or 3 on our own, okay? Hands to the heart. Inner hands press away, arc through the spine. Big breath to carry the arms up. All the air out to let go. So I'll call you back. Just do a few more. Let's meet back up, hands together at the center of the chest. And then take your time, no rush, no urgency. We'll meet up in a downward facing dog. Once you're in downward facing dog, rise up high on both of your toes so that the heels are lifted. And then take turns pressing first right heel down. Inhale breath to come up onto right toes. And then left heel down. Inhale breath to come up onto left toes. Keep this pattern of movement. Exhale, heel down. Inhale, heel up. Exhale, left down. Inhale, left up. So you get the idea here. Keep going. It'll go slower than you want it to be. But that's the whole point here, is to let the brain kind of lag behind the movement and the breath body to lead us in this practice this morning. And when we practice like this, it can feel like we want to speed things up. And if you notice that, slow it back down again. The slower your movements, the longer the breath. The longer the breath, the more relaxed the whole central nervous system becomes. Do 2 more, ending on the left side. Good. So both heels are lifted here. And on your next inhale breath, you're going to glide forward like a wave to the top of plank pose. And on the exhale breath, you're going to glide hips back up towards the sky, downward facing dog. So a few more like this. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, hips high. So find your own rhythm, your own cadence here between these 2 poses. You can accentuate the rippling of the spine as you come forward and back. And don't underestimate the amount of strength that you'll be using in both the center of the belly, the core, and the legs. See if you can generate more from the legs. Burn off a little bit of energy in the legs here. Let the arms just be the levers. Let the shoulders just be the hinge joint that the legs are doing the movement from. Good. Next time you come back to a downward facing dog, pedal out the heels freely. And then look forward and step forward with your right foot. This is where you might reach for 2 blocks, Or if you don't have blocks at home, you're going to take your fingertips into these tented fingers. That works just as well. Now on your inhale breath, lift the heart forward, look forward with your eyes. And on the exhale breath, go ahead and drop your left knee down towards the floor. I like to keep my left toes tucked under, but if you want the shoelace side of your foot down, you're welcome to do that. So just a few breaths here. Rock the hips from front to back. Move any stagnation or congestedness through the hips here, in case you've been having some extra couch time, like me. All right, now if your back toes are flat, I want you to tuck them under like mine. And we're just going to move through two different patterns of movement here. So on the inhale breath, straighten your left leg. And on the exhale breath, you're simply going to drop it down. So these are our two movements here. You're going to move back and forth between these two movements. Straight leg to bent knee. So it's not hard. Find the breath. And we'll go for a few more here. So working with repetition, working with the momentum of the breath. So when we work with repetition, the mind can relax. Now next time your leg is straight, you're going to ground your hands and step right foot back to join the left foot. Right away, we're going back into that wave-like motion with the spine. Inhale, plank pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. Keep going. Inhale to exhale. 2 more. Now let's rock back to plank pose, and when we get there, step your left foot forward, come up onto blocks or fingertips, and move the hips from front to back. Kind of like a seesaw. You're just moving the element of water through the hips to get fluidity and motion. And then go ahead and drop your back right knee and tuck your back right toes. Lift the chest on the inhale, pause on the exhale, and then inhale, start to lift the right knee up and away from the floor, and then tap it back down. Find your pace here. Find your own rhythm with your breath, with the body following. So just that little bit of drag time, the body moves just a little slower than the breath. Do 2 more, and then we're going to head back home to a downward facing dog. Frame your front foot, step it back, and again, finding the familiar patterning of the wave front to back. And know that you could also be doing this from your knees. You don't have to go into the full plank pose. Now, next time you come forward into plank pose, drop down to your knees, and then let the whole heart, chest, and chin come to touch the floor. Take your hands back behind you, and on your inhale breath, you're going to lift the feet and lift the palms and hover on the soft part of the belly for the inhale, locust pose. And on the exhale, ground the palms. Inhale, lift for cobra. Root through the feet. Exhale, chest down. Inhale, locust. Exhale, palms down. Inhale, cobra. So now that you've got the pattern, keep going a few more times on your own. Keep the elbows tight in towards the ribs and the feet grounded in cobra. Feet lift in locust. Do 2 more. Last one. And then from cobra, we'll move through tabletop, back to a downward facing dog. Come right back to the wavy planks. From downward facing dog, when you're there, walk your feet forward to your hands, standing forward fold pose. So root down through your feet, send your thigh bones back, and then let your head drape over the front of the legs. You can picture frame your arms here. Pump the heels side to side. Keep the rhythm of the breath. Good. Release your hands and then glide them up the fronts of your shins to a halfway lift pose. Just a breath or two here to set the benchmark of this pose. So thigh bones back, heart forward, shoulders soft down the back. Soft eyes. Find your drishti. Focus your mind. On the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come back to halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana pose. Exhale to full Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Keep going between these two poses without urgency, without rushing. Like the body is kind of dripped in honey and it's just moving a little slower, a little more sticky. Do a couple more. One more halfway lift, and then we'll meet up in the standing forward fold pose. Take your feet together, wiggle your big toes together to touch with a little gap between your heels. Squeeze your knees together, sink your hips low, and we're going to come into Utkatasana with prayer hands. Inhale. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, deep dive forward. Keep going with your breath. Breath might get a little bit more powerful here, Ujjayi pranayama style of breathing, to support the fiery pose of Utkatasana. One more chair pose. Meeting in the forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, feet back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, pad your hands back to where your feet are, so you're at the back edge of your mat. And on the inhale breath, we'll rise to come all the way up, stand. Take your hands down the center of the body, landing them at the center of the chest. Take a moment to pause here. Take a moment to check in. Okay, catch your hands on both of your hips. And slightly turn your left foot out to 45 degrees. And then take a deep step forward with your right foot. Bend into your right knee. So Virabhadrasana one legs. Take your hands to your heart. And on your inhale breath, you're going to straighten both the front leg and the arms. And on the exhale breath, you're going to dip back into that heart pose. Front knee bends. Link these two poses together with breath. Inhale. Exhale. Powerful breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Find your way here. I'll call you back. Next time your hands come up over top of the head, keep them there. And then forward fold, frame the front foot, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, top of the plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga if you like, right down to the floor. Let's repeat those cobra and locust pose. So hands back behind you, palms face the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, touch the floor. Inhale, heart comes up. Exhale, lower down like a drawbridge. Keep going. Inhale. Exhale. Breath in. Breath out. One more. All the way through to a downward facing dog. Take pause here for a breath in. And all the air out. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Forward fold, bow in towards yourself. And then inhale, root to rise, touch the sky. Hands come back down to the center of the chest, pause. Turn your right toes out 45 degrees, and then take a deep step forward with your left foot, bend your left knee. This is where we'll begin. Slightly draw your right hip forward, left hip up and back. Inhale, arms high, legs straight. Exhale, settle in. So on the inhale breath, we're looking to find space. And on the exhale breath, we're looking to create depth and meaning in the pose. Keep going. Which feels better to you this morning, the deep inhales or the deep, nourishing exhales? Next time the hands are over top of the head, stay there. And then take hands to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, walk feet to hands. And on the inhale breath, come up just halfway, stretch the heart here. And then exhale out all the air, bow in towards the legs. Inhale, rise, come all the way up. And then reset, hands to the center of the chest. So we're going to go through about 5 or so half sun salutations, just to keep this rhythmic flow of practice here. If you would like to do the full vinyasa, where you do the chaturanga and the upward facing dogs, all good. But I'm going to lead you guys through the half sun salutations. All right. On the inhale breath, carry the arms up, palms open so the chest is open. On the exhale breath, bow deeply in towards the earth. Drop your head, tuck your chin. Inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, you bow back in towards yourself. Use the abdominal muscles to tuck the chin. Inhale, come on up, soft knees, reach up. Exhale, reset. Keep the breath, keep the rhythm. Inhale. Swan dive forward on the exhale. You're lifting and lengthening the spine halfway. And then all the air out, forward fold. Inhale, come on up, big breath, full lungs. And then hands to the center of the chest, pause. Let's do 3 more, inhale. Take the arms wide this time, exhale. Halfway lift and lengthen. Soften on the exhale, find depth here. Inhale, stand up, reach up. And then calmly take hands back to the heart. I'll guide you through 1 more, and then I'll leave the last one with you. Inhale, or exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Soften on the exhale breath, depth here. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, pause. All right, this one's all you. We'll meet right back here, okay? Hands at heart. All right, from here, we're just going to step ourselves back into a downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, step your right foot forward to your hands. Now spin your back foot so that you can drop your heel. So you've just opened up your hip here, toes point to this long edge of the mat. Some of you might reach for a block here or a box of cereal or a small child or something to take your hand down to. So right hand is just on the instep of the right foot. Alternatively, it might look something like this. Okay? So hand is on something, floor or a block. And then start with your left hand down so that the fingertips are down towards the floor. And then on the inhale breath, like a book, like you're opening up a book, take your top hand to the sky. Exhale, hand goes down. Inhale, open the chest, gaze follows the hand. Keep with this movement. Opening and closing the chest, twisting of the spine. Keep the breath, inhale. Exhale. Slow, deliberate, efficient movements. Now touch the floor one more time with your left fingertips, and then we'll meet with hand towards the sky where we'll pause to stay. And then on the inhale breath, we'll come up to a warrior two. Arms separate wide apart. Open your chest. Turn your gaze to face sideways. So you're not looking over your front fingertips, but you're looking to the side. And we're going to link two poses together here. We're going to take dancing warrior. So front leg is going to straighten like we did in warrior one. And then arms go over top of the head to high prayer. And on the exhale breath, dip back into your knee. Lower your arms to shoulder height. Take the gaze over your front hand. Inhale, look to the side. Straighten the legs, straighten the arms. Keep with this rhythm. Dancing warrior. Take your hands up and over top of the head one last time. And then we'll meet up in this warrior two. Gaze over the front palm. From warrior two, straighten your front leg and then turn your toes to face this long edge of your mat. On the inhale breath, find length through the side body, length through the spine. Reach up tall, breath in, full lungs. And on the exhale breath, like someone's chopping you in half from the waist, hinge at your hips to come forward. Use the strength of the legs and the abdominals to carry you down slowly. You might reach for blocks here underneath the hands, or you might take tented fingers. But let's ground and plant the left hand. And on the inhale breath, you're going to reach the right arm open towards the sky. And on the exhale breath, you're going to dive behind your left wrist and reach to the left. Keep this pattern of movement. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. If you feel an extra, or if you hear an extra breather in the room, it's because Kyle does the classes behind the camera. So good job, Kyle. Yeah. Okay, one more time, reach the chest open. And then we're simply going to switch sides. So the right hand becomes the base of this wavy twist. Root down through this hand. This is the origin of this whole pose. And then reach left arm up. And then dive behind the wrist. Keep the breathing rhythmic, consistent, and repetitive. Good. Reach up one last time, and then both hands come to support you underneath the face. Catch your hands on your hips. Take a full breath in through your nose. All the air out through your mouth. Seal your mouth. Inhale, rise. Breath through the nose. Breath through the nose on the exhale breath. Bring your hands together to touch, and then step your feet together. So you can still face the long edge of your mat here, and we're going to root down through both of the feet. Keep the hands at the center of the chest, Tadasana, mountain pose with hands at the heart. Ground down, get stable, get still. Focus your eyes. Soften the expression on your face. Extending that grace back to you this morning. Good. Keep your hands at your heart and then let the left foot get heavy with weight. Pick up your right heel. Now turn your hip open, like you're opening up your hip like a book here. And some of you are going to keep your toe on the floor like me this morning, just on the instep of your foot, your left foot. And some of you might find a place up and along your standing leg for your foot to go. So just so you know, we're going to move the arms in tree pose. So if you want more stability like me, keep your toes down, but up to you. Inhale, take your arms, palms open, reach up over top of your head. And on the exhale, bring them right down the center line of you. Keep like this. Breath in, reach up. Extra challenge, you lift that foot, right? All the air out. Steady your eyes. Do 2 more. Last one. Good. Send the hands back to the heart. Shift weight into the right leg. So there's a couple different ways that you can stand here. You can stand, I call this waiting in the grocery store standing. So don't do that. You want to stand tall out of the hips so that you feel your waist lengthen. Stand like that. Charge up your right thigh. Turn open your left hip. Find a good spot for your left foot. And on the inhale breath, reach your arms up. All the air out, nice and slow, deep and steady. Hands back to the chest. Again. Lift your arms one more time. And then pause when they get to the chest. Good. Close your hips, step down. And then simply turn to face the front edge of your mat again. We'll take one sun salutation to get us to a downward facing dog. Inhale, reach up. Breathe out all the air as you forward fold. Lift and stretch your heart forward halfway. And then hands down, feet back, downward facing dog. If some of you want to take a vinyasa here, we can wait 2-3 breaths here, no rush at all. And then from downward facing dog, you're going to step your left foot forward. Turn open your right foot to the long edge of your mat, and then left hand comes to the instep of your foot. Remember, this is where you're going to have either tented fingers or hand on something. Anytime we can bring the earth up closer to us, the pose becomes more accessible and the breath more available. So right fingertips down towards the floor, and then on the inhale, you're opening the chest like a book here. So hand goes up and hand goes down. Notice that your left elbow is encouraging your left hip to stay open. So gaze can follow that hand. Keep the eyes soft. Come back to your intention. So next time your hand comes up towards the ceiling, keep it there. And on the inhale, we rise for warrior 2. Front legs bend. Turn your gaze to the side. Straighten your front leg. Reach your arms up and over top of your head. Cross your thumbs. And then exhale, sink deeply into the lunge. Keep going. You're like a moving piece of art here. Body is moving like a dance. And the breath is always the lead dancer. If we have two lead dancers, somebody's going to step on somebody's foot. So you're just a little bit behind the lead dancer of the breath. Let's meet up in Warrior Two. Pivot your left toes to face the long edge of the mat. And this time we're going to kick the heels in and the toes out and bring the hands to the center of the chest. And then sink the hips low for horse pose or goddess pose. So here we'll return to the pranayama that we did first thing when we joined each other. Weave the hands right down to the webbing. On the exhale breath, round through your spine, push your inner hands away. And on the inhale, reach up. Cast the gaze high. And on the exhale, release the hands. Keep the strength in the legs. Burn a little bit of the energy out of the legs. Round through the spine. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, let go. Keep your eyes focused, breath focused. Two more. Last one. Straighten the legs. Readjust your feet so that the toes are forward. And bring your hands together to touch. Okay. From here, I want you guys to find a wall space or some sort of a way to get yourself inverted and upside down. So some suggestions are you can take a pillow or a blanket and just put it kind of log style underneath the sacrum, the low part of the back, and then take the feet up towards the sky for waterfall pose. So that's one option. If you have handstand in your practice, I want you to take handstand. If you have headstand and it feels like you can stay focused and peaceful in the pose, choose that. Okay, but we're going to take a few moments to go upside down here. Yeah, what are you going to do, Kyle? Oh, Kyle's bringing me a blanket. Okay. Okay, thanks, Kyle. So I don't know if I can go on my back just because of this little mic pack, but you could have actually like a block here. I imagine most people don't have blocks at home. I wonder if we could lend people the blocks during this time. I don't see why not. All right, you're going to lay down on the block or a bolster or a blanket, and you're simply going to invert the legs. Focus the mind here. Relax the brain. And the breath here is going, depending on what pose you're in. If you're in handstand, you keep the fire breath. If you're in headstand, you keep a cooling, peaceful breath. And if you're in the same waterfall pose as me, you're aware of the breath, but it's not controlling the pose. It's just you and the body together in unison here. The neutral breath. About another 30 seconds wherever you are. If you're still in handstand, amazing. All right, let's begin to exit the pose. So feet down from whatever shape you're in. Release any props from underneath you, set them to the side. So those of you that were in a headstand or a handstand, please join me on the back body, feet flat, knees bent. And then go ahead and take your arms up and over top of your head so that the backs of the hands touch the floor and the palms face the ceiling. Keep your arms in this position, and on your next inhale breath, lift the hips up. On your next exhale breath, take the hands alongside the body, hips lower. Keep with this breath pattern. Inhale, hips up, arms back. Exhale, hips down, arms lower. Keep going. Little squeeze of the bum at the top of this bridge pose. And then soften as you lower down. Do 3 more. When you finish your third and final one, you can either hold that bridge pose for just a little bit more time, or you can go up into Urdhva Dhanurasana, the wheel pose. So your choice. Okay, stay up for about 5 to 8 breaths wherever you are. Break through any armoring of the heart. Breaking through any sadness, any disappointment. And then slowly lower back down. Find your favorite counter pose from wheel or bridge, either soles of the feet together. One hand to the belly center, one hand to the heart center. Some of you might choose to take tented knees, feet wide. Just a few breaths of stillness here. Now I on purpose want to end with that back bend. Back bends bring enthusiasm. Back bends help us to move through depression, sadness, and anxiety. And I want that feeling to just reside in the heart space as we end practice this morning. So if you're feeling too blown apart or too open wide from that back bend and you need to take another counter pose, you still have time. But I think it's a good idea for us to be in the heart space right now, to open the throat, to expand the chest. When you're ready, we'll set ourselves into the final rest of Shavasana. In Shavasana, traditionally, we try not to bend at any joint in the body. So the legs are straight, the arms are straight. And there's a way that you can set your scapula, your shoulder blades, on the back body so that the chest will stay open. And in this pose, we have the hands open for receptivity so that the circuit and the channel of the heart can run free and clear. So let's take one community collective breath in through the nose. And then one community collective breath out through the mouth. And we'll take about a minute of rest. And I'll bring you guys back in just a moment here. can welcome any movement back into your smaller joints of the body, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. And then we'll roll to one side to come up to a seat. Take your time. So thank you guys for joining us, our very first live class. Hopefully it all recorded. Hopefully you guys all connected. Oh, hey, Kyle's coming in for a little namaste.
Sure.
Okay, so let's bring our hands together to touch center of the chest. Take a full breath in, spine lengthens, back of the neck gets long. So on your next exhale, humbly bow your chin. And so from our hearts to your hearts, thank you for being a part of this online community. We deeply appreciate you all for being here. Namaste. Bye. That's it?
Yep.
If you're still watching, I think Jen Jelena had 641 classes today.
Yeah, she had a lot.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And someone else.
I think Tracy Werner.
Tracy Werner had like
That's
her 100th class. So Jen Jelena, shout out to you. Tracy Werner, shout out to you. Good job, you guys. Keep up the discipline. Okay, we'll see you next week.